Hi everyone, this is Lara at pureelliottwave.com. I'm going to go through 9 small coins with you, well, a couple of them not so small but mostly small. These are the ones I'm going to buy some of again later today, and I'm going to go through some technical charts, and very quickly I've updated very brief outlines of Elliott Wave to show you why I want to buy some of these today. Let's start with EOS. And I'm going to just look at technical analysis at the daily chart level. It's formed this strong bullish candlestick wick down here. It's not long enough, I think, to be a bullish and a hammer candlestick pattern. We've got volume pushing price lower, but a decline on the last day. There's bullish divergence between price and on-balance volume. Someone's been telling me I need to look at closing price. I am considering closing price. I'm going to draw my lines along the lows because it's more visually intuitive, but if I'm determining that there is divergence, I'm looking at the closing price, and here price is closed well below this point, but on balance volume has not made a corresponding low. So there's weakness in this downward movement. So I'm going to put these lines along here to illustrate that that's bullish divergence. ADX is not extreme, it's still indicating a downward trend. RSI's reached oversold. It did back here and it has prior, and that led to a bit of a bounce before downward movement continued. I think that this is probably a low. Now let's have a look at EOS Elliott Wave count. The last couple of big lows that we see, it has this really strong downward movement, and then it forms these strong V bottoms. It looks like it might be doing that again, and as this low is below these lows, I'm seeing this as a completed double combination. Expanded flat X, double flat, expanded flat X, flat correction. It's got a slightly lower movement when you look at it on a semi-log scale, although on an arithmetic scale it would be quite a lot lower. But overall, most of this is sideways and taking up time, and it's ending on a really strong downward session. Down here, I'm just going to really quickly calculate the percentage pullback of this. It's about 96%. That's a huge bear market. It's well within, it's beyond normal range of 80 to 90% for a huge bear market for these coins. So I think it's either going to disappear, which I think is unlikely, or this bear market is over here or really soon. So I'm going to buy a little bit of this today. Moving on to the next one, DOGE or Doge. How do you pronounce that? I don't know. Okay, this one, yesterday's candlestick, a hammer candlestick pattern. It's got that bullish divergence again with price and on-balance volume. Not as strong as EOS, but it does have that bullish divergence. No divergence between price and RSI. ADX is extreme but not very extreme. Because RSI is reaching again into oversold, and it doesn't tend to do that very much for very long, I think we probably have a low in place, and this may be forming a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern, although it does have a bearish upper wick. So I'm not going to be in too much of a hurry to jump into this. Maybe I'll jump into this tomorrow, but today or tomorrow I'm definitely going to be purchasing a little bit of this again. Stochastics returning to neutral, ATR increasing. At this low, that's normal behaviour. What about an Elliott wave count for Doge? I think this might be a fourth wave correction. Let's do a quick calculation of how deep this is in respect to the second wave. A 91% correction of the third wave. Sorry, not the second, the third wave. I have cycle wave 2 as a zigzag, leading contracting diagonal for A, triangle for B, short little C wave, impulse for the third wave, a lot longer than the first wave, and the fourth wave a 91% correction of the third. So I think again this is probably over for Doge. Let's move on to the next one. Shiba. At this low here, again, I analysed this one really recently with you, and we did have a bullish divergence between price and on-balance volume. That's just disappeared with the last 3-4 sessions after I last analysed this with you. But there is bullish divergence now between price and RSI after RSI reached oversold. I have a little bit more confidence with this kind of divergence. And again, it is on a closing basis. Here, price is closed below this close. RSI has failed to make a corresponding low, but I am drawing the lines on the lows because it is more visually intuitive. but I am paying attention to the close because RSI and on balance volume, that's the close of the session. So we need to look at the close for price, which is a very good point someone pointed out to me. I haven't checked the length of the wick of this candlestick. It looks like it could be a hammer. It's certainly bullish, and this candlestick is a really strong bullish engulfing pattern, and it has some push from volume. So because we've got this oversold condition here from RSI with short-term divergence, and we've got bullish candlesticks, and we've got this strong V bottom looks like it's forming, I think this is possibly also a sustainable low. So I want to purchase a little bit more of this probably today, and I think this is possibly the end of a second wave correction. My data here, this is I'm just getting data from Yahoo Finance, and this is what they give me. I know it's got a problem. I haven't spent enough time to try and fix the look of these candlesticks. It has that like barcode look. I know that's a problem, but it appears to be fixed in the last few sessions, and overall it doesn't make a difference to my decision making today. So I'm not going to spend the time trying to find different data and fix this data here on this chart. It just doesn't matter for the long term. So I think we've probably got a deep second wave correction over here. I'm not sure to label it an intermediate or primary degree. I'm just going to really quickly test, just calculate the depth of this. A 95% correction. That's huge. And again, it looks like it's forming a V bottom, and it's got some bullish candlestick patterns. So that's the next one I'll have a look at. Next one, Nano. I like this one. I like the look of its chart. Again, bullish divergence between price and on-balance volume, and this one's really strong. I think this is probably a hammer candlestick pattern and a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern. It looks again like a V bottom is forming here. RSI is oversold. It did that back here, and there was bullish divergence between these lows, between price and RSI. It did lead to some upward movement, but that wasn't a sustainable low, and price has moved lower since then. That certainly could happen again, but I can think that the depth of the divergence and the fact that they're all turning together in the last couple of days points to a sustainable low is more likely than not. And I'm only putting money into this that I'm absolutely happy losing, like a really quite a small amount. Okay, so that was Nano. What about an Elliott wave count for Nano? I think that for Nano, this might be a really bullish wave count. Primary 1, primary 2, intermediate 1, intermediate 2. I think also, let's just put a little bit of detail in here. My biggest, I think I'd rather put this here. My biggest concern for this one is the structure of intermediate wave 2. Could it be over? And yes, it certainly could be. I think I'd rather put this here, and I think I might even put this here with a small truncation. I don't know. No, I think I'd put this here. And let's get some labels in here real quick. Yeah, I think I'd rather put that there and here. Okay, I think that looks like a fairly decent Elliott wave count. My concern here is, no, I don't like that. I'll put this here. My concern is the structure of C is C over. So I think either a single or a double zigzag, but it looks like this pullback is most likely over. Okay, moving on to the next one, Hedera Hashgraph. Again, it looks like it's forming a V bottom. This is a hammer candlestick pattern, a huge bullish engulfing candlestick pattern. The moving average situation for all of these still remains full ball bearish, and if there is a low down here, it will remain so for some time. These are lagging indicators. For this one, no bullish divergence between price and on-balance volume. This one's a lot weaker in terms of price, so this is a less like a higher risk to this possible investment. ADX is very extreme though, and RSI has been oversold for a little while, tends to not remain so for too long. So with such extreme conditions and bullish candlestick patterns forming, I think for this one, this looks like it does have a low in place. I'm just a little bit concerned about the lack of divergence here between price and on-balance volume. Let's have a look at an Elliott wave count for Hedera Hashgraph. I've done a pretty thorough one for this one, and there's an 88% correction. And this looks like a really good looking double zigzag. The subdivisions all fit quite well. I'm happy with this. I think from this low to this high it looks like an impulse, and for this high to this low it looks like a correction so far. Although you could try and see this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for A, and then to have B and C. That is the risk. This is not the only Elliott wave count. For my own, I'm just going through what I do for my own investing purposes with you today. This is just a hopefully not too long video sharing with you my work that I've done this morning and deciding what am I going to buy today. So I'm buying this one, and that's why. Stellar. I really liked this one when I bought it some time ago. That particular investment isn't doing so well today, but I'm absolutely not concerned. I still bought it under 50 cents. It doesn't matter that it's lower now. I'm looking at a much longer term gameplay for this one, for pretty much all of these. So I think I want to put a little bit more into this today. I like the look of this. Let's have a look at some classic analysis for Stellar. Huge bullish divergence between price and on-balance volume. On a closing basis, close here, close lower. On-balance volume hasn't made a corresponding low. There's weakness in this downwards movement indicated by on-balance volume. A hammer candlestick pattern, a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern, but a bit of a bearish upper wick may be developing. A selling climax, volume is pushing price lower. A decline in volume for the final day though. On ADX indicates an extreme downward trend, not very extreme but pretty close. RSI oversold, extreme conditions, a V bottom, bullish divergence, bullish candlestick patterns. What's a possible Elliott wave count for Stellar? I think here a second wave correction. Looks like a double zigzag. I haven't spent too much time on this one for the Elliott wave correction. I'm going to rely more on classic analysis. What's the next one on my list? TFuel. Let's go back to the classic analysis. This is where I spent most of my time today, to be honest. With these smaller ones, I'm going to be using Elliott wave mostly to identify my exit point, to help identify my entry point, but I'm going to be relying in most cases more on classic analysis than just on Elliott wave. My Elliott wave for this purpose is supplementary. Okay, TFuel, also bullish divergence between price and on-balance volume. Price is closed lower here, on-balance volume has failed to make a corresponding low. There is weakness and downward movement. A bullish engulfing candlestick pattern forming. This one, interestingly, has a huge volume spike for this upward session. I don't trust it though. I wonder if retroactively that volume data is going to be changed. Could this be a huge order that isn't filled? I don't know, but I'm a little bit suspicious that that's possibly going to change. I've seen that happen before. ADX does not indicate the trend is extreme, but RSI is oversold. It doesn't tend to stay oversold for too long. It's not only oversold at sustainable lows though, it can also reach oversold at interim lows before some upward movement relieves pressure and then a downward bear market continues. So on its own this doesn't mean that this bearish move is over. But I think the look of this V bottom, the candlestick patterns and the bullish divergence point to a low being more likely than not, and an increase in ATR at the end. So for TFuel, what's a possible Elliott wave count for this one? I think we may have a primary degree first wave, a primary degree second wave. I haven't looked at the subdivisions. I think it's most likely to be a double zigzag, but I haven't spent too much time on that. Let's just really quickly, I think it might actually be a single zigzag with a short A and an extended C. Yep, that has a good fit. That looks pretty good. If I was going to spend more time on this, I would be checking that the subdivisions of -3 all fit and meet Elliott wave rules. It's a 92% correction of primary wave 1. Again, because of the depth, the look of this V bottom, and the bullish looking or extreme looking technicals today, I'm happy to put a little bit more into Theta Fuel today. Next one, Dash. Again, strong downward movement, looks like a low may be forming, hammer candlestick pattern, bullish engulfing candlestick pattern, volume spiking at the low, a selling climax, bullish divergence between price and on-balance volume. Price here closing at a lower low, on-balance volume failing to make a corresponding new low. So there's weakness in this downward movement as indicated by on-balance volume. For this one, ADX is also extreme, not very extreme. It will be very soon though if downward movement continues. If it reaches 45 and above, it would be very extreme. And RSI is oversold. Extreme conditions, bullish candlestick patterns, and a complete Elliott wave count. I will definitely be buying a little bit more of this today. I bought some of this quite a long time ago. And finally, my favourite, XRP. I just updated this the other day. No bullish divergence between price and on-balance volume for this one, or between price and RSI, but RSI again oversold. ADX now indicating the downward trend is very extreme. Volume pushing price lower. This looks like a selling climax. This wick is not long enough for a bullish hammer candlestick pattern, but we do have a couple of bullish long lower wicks and now a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern forming. It looks like a V bottom may be forming for XRP. What about the Elliott wave count, which I updated with you just the other day? Okay, let's expand this out and have a look and see how this went. I would possibly consider maybe just one more low for this one, possibly. Or, okay, could I have this and this here? No, I don't like that. No, I don't want to do that. I've already worked on that bit. And I don't want to put this here because we would have a truncated fifth wave. This could be here and here. Okay, for this one, for the Elliott wave count, the low may be in here, and my count for those little fourth waves is wrong, or it's got one more final low. Either way, it looks like it's really close to it. So that's the last one, and one of my favourites that I'll be purchasing today. I hope someone finds this useful. Thank you all so much for watching, and again, for the next couple of days only, my Learn Pure Elliott Wave online course is still on sale at 40% off, and I'll put a link in the description box below if you want to click through and have a look at what's involved there, at what you get if you purchase that video course. Thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for your support, and let me know if any of you are purchasing any of these along with me today.